All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chase Corrington, CLC Paint. Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. Change your thoughts, change your life, living the wisdom of the Tao. It is Tuesday. The schedule flipped around again, but we got our normal Tuesday Tao video to bring to you today instead of Thursday, and tomorrow we'll have Wednesday wisdom. There's a lot of days going on here. But today we're looking at the 24th verse of the Tao Te Ching. And Wayne Dyer titles his chapter here, Living Without Excess. And isn't that something that all of us could use some time pondering on and maybe adding into our own lives, is having the ability to maybe live with a little less or even without excess. And so before I ramble on too much, let's just dive right into the 24th verse, ladies and gentlemen. The 24th verse of the Tao Te Ching. If you stand on tiptoe, you cannot stand firmly. If you take long steps, you cannot walk far. Showing off does not reveal enlightenment. Boasting will not produce accomplishment. He who is self-righteous is not respected. He who brags will not endure. All these ways of acting are odious, distasteful. There are superfluous excesses. Wow, that's some words there. They are like a pain in the stomach, a tumor in the body. When walking the path of the Tao, this is the very stuff that must be uprooted, thrown out, and left behind. Fascinating, ladies and gentlemen. I did not expect that. What stands out to me there is going from, these maybe ego-driven, lower consciousness level ideas like showing off and boasting and self-righteousness and bragging about yourself, and then the metaphors of standing on tiptoe and not being able to stand firmly, or taking long steps and not being able to walk far. It's like when you are without even keel or a smooth base, it kind of messes up the rest of the process. All these ways of acting are distasteful, and they are superfluous excesses. Fascinating. And so when you're walking the path of the Tao, these are the very most important things that must be uprooted, thrown out, and left behind. And that reminds me of the process of becoming a spiritual manifester and being able to create your life on purpose with a connection and flow and harmony with the force, whatever it is you want to call that force. I think that's something you learn as you start to go down that path, is that there's a lot of these old ways of behavior and acting that everybody takes for granted, or maybe everybody takes it as normal because it's really common, because they're just our normal ego-driven mindsets. But when you start to walk this new path, this new way, in order to flow with the force, there are a lot of these things that you have to uproot, throw out, and leave behind. Now let's go into what Dr. Wayne Dyer says, living without excess. In this verse, Dr. Dyer begins, Lao-tzu advises that the path of the Tao needs to be cleared of any weeds of excessive personal importance. After all, accomplishments derive from the all-creating source that Lao-tzu calls the Tao. Everything that you see, touch, or own is a gift from the Tao, this force, the organizing universal intelligence, God, whatever you want to call it. Everything that we see, touch, or own is a part of creation, is a gift from the Tao. Thus, it is your duty to suspend your ego and seek an attitude of gratitude and generosity for the Tao's creativity. In this way, you walk the path of the Tao by becoming like it is, which is always existing in a state of unlimited giving. It is to this state that the 24th verse of the Tao Te Ching urges us to return, ladies and gentlemen. So it says here, notice how the natural flow of the Tao operates. It asks nothing of you, as it provides you and everyone else with unlimited supplies of food, air, water, sunshine, land, and beauty. It is always creating for the benefit of all, and it has no need for prideful boasting or demanding something in return. This poem, our favorite man, by Hafiz, bears repeating here to illustrate this point. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. That's a great one, and it really illustrates that point. Look what happens with a love like that, Hafiz continues. It lights the whole sky. The sun symbolizes the Tao at work. It offers its warmth, light, and life-giving energy to all, illuminating the globe without any demand for recognition. And don't get caught up on the globe term there. We all know it's a toroidal field. Without any demand for recognition. Imagine if the sun needed attention and demanded accolades for its efforts. It would shine only where it felt most appreciated or when it received payment for that life-giving energy. Now you see how ridiculous when you start to put these human ego-driven, these lower levels of thinking, and you start to apply it to nature, and you realize just how ridiculous these systems and ideas that we've come up with are compared to the natural way, the flow, the Tao, the universal intelligence. Soon the world would be partially shut off from the sun's magnificence, if it were when it received payment for the life-giving energy, if that was the only time that the sun would shine, to where it felt most appreciated. And ultimately, the entire planet would be covered in darkness as wars erupted over ways of appeasing the sun god. Fascinating. It's easy to see why Lao-tzu refers to such inclinations to be boastful and self-righteous as odious, and akin to a tumor in the body. Walk the path of the Tao by being a giver rather than a taker, providing for others and asking nothing in return. Then view your desires to brag and seek approval and as weeds appearing on your journey, seeing yourself as important and special because of your artistic talent, for instance, walking the path of ego. Fascinating. I'll have to say that again to myself with the beautiful landscape painting sitting in the back there. Then view your desires to brag and seek approval as weeds that are appearing on your journey. So you don't need to seek approval. And that's one of the three most important components of a self-actualizing individual, is you become independent of the good opinion of others. And so you're no longer doing what it is you're doing to gain the approval of others. You're no longer approval seeking. And then you find that you can start approving of yourself without needing that from other people. Now, your desires. And it's interesting how it mentions, like, while you're going along your path, and then when you recognize these things popping up in your mind or your ego, and you're wanting to do these things like brag and, the approval seeking and all of this, view them as weeds. So, like, you just get rid of them. You pull the weeds and you throw them, and you're good. And then some more weeds grow again. And you got to continue to weed the garden, ladies and gentlemen, because our lives are a garden to nurture and protect. Now, let's continue. So seeing yourself as important and special because of a talent that you have, for instance, is walking the path of ego. Walking the path of the Tao means that you express appreciation for the hands that allow you to do your talent. So for my example, but bragging and boasting about my ability to create landscape paintings is not the way of the Tao. The way of the Tao is to have gratitude and appreciation that I have the ability to do it and go about my business and do what it is that I feel like I need to do, and be proud of myself wherever I need to be, and not worry about seeking the approval and the adoration of others, even though it is something that some of us seek after so much. And that's something that I've dealt with in my life. I so often want great approval from others for the things that I do. And I find the most peace and the most contentment and serenity, and I feel proud of myself and all of these things when I'm able to do these things without seeking for the approval and without having to strive. And that's the paradox that we've been learning throughout both of these series, Wisdom of the Ages and the Tao. It's like that you have to let go of this want to do it for an external reason, and you do it for yourself. And then the striving that you used to be doing, like if you used to be doing it for approval, when you stop doing it for approval and you start doing it for yourself, and you approve yourself, then the approval that you used to be seeking after arrives into your life more than it ever used to when you were chasing after it, because it's a paradox. It just happens in the opposite kind of way. Now, before I continue to ramble, let us continue with Wayne Dyer. He says, "This is how Lao-tzu advises you to walk the path of the Tao, free of our ego-driven desires to be recognized for all of our efforts and accomplishments." He says here, change your life by consciously choosing to be in a state of gratitude. The journey of your life will change when you emphasize gratitude for all that you are, all that you accomplish, and all that you receive. You should write that down, ladies and gentlemen, and put it on a sticky note, or put it somewhere where you'll see it, on the fridge, or somewhere where you'll see this every day of your life. And truly, you can change your life by having a gratitude, and having the kind of gratitude that was just so eloquently put there when you emphasize gratitude for all that you are, all that you have, and all that continues to come into your life. Practice silently repeating, "I thank you," throughout your waking hours. And as you fall asleep and awaken, continue this practice. Thank you. Thank you. Like, I can hear the birds out there now. I'm so thankful that they're coming back now. The baby birds last year were so fun to watch out there. They're a little loud sometimes in the morning, but I'm so thankful that I have the opportunity to do these videos. The It's so great. These yogi teas, they have these little quotes on the end of the tea bag. And so this one said here today, which is so great, it goes along with what we're saying. The world needs your unique gifts. And that means every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. The world needs your unique gifts. So don't leave with them still inside you. And sometimes for us to get those gifts out without, feeling discouraged or uncomfortable or not sure of ourselves, the way to access our power and our creativity and flow and get those gifts out of us is gratitude. And, gratitude is difficult for people, true gratitude, because we just don't practice it enough. And so, if this begins to be something that we practice, then after a few months, after 6 months, after a year, after 3 years, can you imagine if you practice gratitude? Like you're actually not like practicing gratitude, like, yes, I do gratitude, but practicing gratitude, like gratitude's tough because not all of us live in a state of continuous gratitude. And so I'm trying to get better at it by purposefully trying to do it. Once again, making happiness the way rather than the destination. Making gratitude the practice along the way, the activity that we do in life. And the simplest way to get into that is that sentence. I'm thankful for all that I am, all that I have, and all that continues to come into my life. All right, I'll continue. Saying thank you through our waking hours. Whether you're thanking God, Spirit, Allah, the Tao, Krishna, Buddha, Source, the Force, or Self, or your higher self, the universal organizing intelligence, whatever it is, whatever you call it, because all those names represent the great wisdom traditions, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're really interested in here, is the wisdom of the ages. And, we're also trying to change our thoughts, change our life by living the wisdom of the Tao. But so it's that wisdom. Wisdom is the word that seems to always stand out in this wonderful teachings that we're going through, teaching and learning and commentary and expansion of ideas. If you're getting value, consider subscribing. Please leave me a comment and let me know that you're liking this, because I never really know who does watch these videos. But so, it doesn't matter this name that you give. Give thanks for the sunshine, the rain, and your body, including all of its components. Have a brain, heart, liver, and even toenail appreciation day. Dr. Dyer says, your practice of gratitude helps you focus on the real source of everything, as well as notice when you're letting ego dominate. Make this a silent daily practice. Give thanks for the bed, the sheets, the pillows, and the room you sleep in at night. And in the morning, say, thank you for whatever lies ahead. Then begin the beautiful day doing something kind for another human being, someplace on the planet. And, that's one of the great teachings that I got from Matt Belair. Uh-oh, did we run out of time? It says recording. Nope. Okay, looks good. There was one time I was doing this and we ran out of storage space on the computer. I got so many of these videos stacked up, but it looks like we're good. All right. Oh yeah, the 3 kind acts. And go out of your way to do 3 kind acts for somebody. As simple as saying hello, how are you, or opening the door for somebody, or even though mostly there's automatic doors everywhere we go nowadays, but you know what I mean. And then don't tell anybody. Just do it for yourself. Not seeking rewards. You're not approval seeking. That goes right along with what we're talking about here. And being kind for another human being on the planet. And then be grateful. And if you start to add all these kind of things together, The energy that will begin flowing in your life will be in an abundance that you've never seen before. It's incredible, ladies and gentlemen. There's some kind of universal electromagnetics going on that's hard to explain between, these kind of Tao-centered, wisdom-centered interactions and way of living life. It creates some kind of harmony that can only be known, I think, through true experience. Now, the second recommendation Wayne Dyer gives us here towards the end of this chapter is change your life by examining your urge to boast and be self-righteous. When you're about to brag to others about your credentials or accomplishments, momentarily sense the urge and recall Lao-tzu's advice that this is the very stuff that must be uprooted, thrown out, and left behind on the Tao path. Inner approval is healthy. See, this is important. A lot of people get confused when hearing these kind of teachings as they take it to the extreme and they forget that there is paradoxes and these things work in opposite, in harmony at the same time. So, it also says inner approval is healthy and pure, while self-righteous boasting is not. So it's important to remember that we can approve of ourselves and we can, receive recognition and approval from others. And that's not impure, and that's not what we're talking about uprooting and getting rid of. It's the only going after it and only wanting the approval of others and, having that approval of self mean nothing. It's when it's taken to the dark side, ladies and gentlemen, that the force changes the way it operates in your life. Now, so I'll restart that. When you're about to brag to others about your credentials and accomplishments, momentarily sense the urge and recall the advice that this is the stuff that we must uproot and throw out and leave behind. But on the Tao path, inner approval is healthy and pure, while self-righteous boasting is simply superfluous. That word gets me if you haven't noticed. When you notice your gloating habit, you can choose to get back on the Tao path by remembering this 24th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Pomposity and self-inflating comments can then be seen as weeds you really have no need for. By returning to radical humility and seeing the greatness within everyone, you've then cleared your life of excessive self-importance. Because when you realize, I'll add, that everybody, like I've said this before, is on their own path. They're doing the best that they know how to do in their life based on all their experiences. And I know the argument, you'd be like, oh yes, some people are acting like idiots and they know they should be behaving better and all these things, but then why aren't they? They're living their lives. And it's like, we're all learning and growing and no one is perfect. And a lot of us are a lot less perfect than a lot the rest of us would like them to be. And so often we get caught up living in that kind of mindset, and then we think of ourselves that way and everything's messed up and nobody's good. But when you realize the opposite of that everybody is just on their path, doing what they know how to do, regardless of the way that we judge it, you start to see that, it's all right. It's like, oh yeah, that guy's needs to learn and get better, or that, whoever it is, guy or gal in your life, needs to learn and get better, and you can honor that. And you can honor the divine universal intelligence, the creative force. Creation itself is in them too, as much as it's in you, as much as it is in the air, in the room, in the building, in the walls that contain, you know what I mean? There's a connection. You start to recognize this connection, and Let go of the judging. By returning to radical humility and seeing the greatness within everybody, Wayne Dyer continues, you've then cleared your life of excessive self-importance. And this is the way of the Tao. And the reason that you should get this book for yourself, physical copy, which I have linked in the description below, if you expand it, there should be a link to Amazon there, so you can support the author, late Dr. Wayne Dyer, and his family and the publishing company, and maybe a few shillings to me. Is because at the end of each of these chapters, ladies and gentlemen, there's a simple recommendation about how we can apply these ideas into our life, practically. And so today, Dr. Wayne Dyer says, do the Tao now. Tomorrow morning, do something expressing your kindness to someone who will be totally surprised by your actions. Interesting. Email someone expressing your love and appreciation. That's something I should do more often. You know, I listen to quite a few of the same podcasters, and I don't ever email them. Like, I should really send them emails at least once a month or something, just appreciating you know, all the work that it is they do, the inspiration that they give me. You know, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this now with you. And so, you know, I think it's important to give people exactly what I was saying, give people that appreciation. Expressing your love and appreciation. Call a grandparent who may be feeling lonely in an assisted living facility, or send flowers to a loved one who's alone, or even a stranger if necessary. Note how your gratitude for another truly nurtures your Tao path, not that of your ego. And I'll finish with know how your gratitude for another truly nurtures your own gratitude for yourself in your life, ladies and gentlemen. That was a nice one. Ends on kind of like a soft, quiet note, a contemplative lesson about gratitude and appreciation. I thought it was interesting. He titled it "Living Without Excess." I think I might title this something like "How to Cultivate Gratitude and Self-Appreciation," something like that. But anyways, if you got value, ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button, consider subscribing, and let me know what you think about these videos, because, you know, this is something that I don't know, I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to do. And, you know, it's not like I get 100 views. I was going to say 1 million, you know, metaphor, jokingly, but it's not even like I get 100 views. So I'm just kind of doing this for whoever it is that gets something out of this. And I hope one day in the future that this playlist and Wisdom of the Ages playlist can, you know, be referred back to by those of us that are on the journey, that are trying to understand how to have a higher quality of life, and how to, you know, how to operate with real magic and real power and real, you know, comfort and peace and contentment, and then share that with others so that we can make the world a greater place. And then you know, the old 100th monkey, and it'll just flip and suddenly everybody will get it. That's the wish. Critical mass, I think, is what that's called in scientific terms. But once again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate everybody who takes time out of their day to spend with me, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and Lao-tzu, and all the wonderful authors, poets, philosophers, and, you know, artists, writers that we cover in the Wisdom of the Ages. And tomorrow is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll be back tomorrow with some fantastic Wisdom of the Ages to bring your way. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and I love everybody who watches. Stay good.